Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. You are not weak. You just need to relax and refocus. Life has this funny way of hitting you all at once. Bills pile up, people disappoint you, dreams feel delayed, and suddenly you start questioning your strength. But hear me clearly. Your struggle does not mean you're weak. It means you're human and you're still in the fight. Sometimes God isn't saying no. He's saying, hold up, let me prepare you. But when you're tired, frustrated, overwhelmed, it's easy to mistake delay for defeat. You start believing you're not good enough, not strong enough, not gifted enough. But that's a lie. You've survived everything life threw at you so far. Don't tell me you're weak. Feeling tired or overwhelmed doesn't mean weakness. It means you need rest, not self-doubt. People often confuse exhaustion with failure, as if being worn out is a sign that something is wrong with them. But the truth is, the reason you feel drained is because you've been carrying responsibilities, emotions, pressures, and expectations that would break a person with less heart than you. You've been pushing, showing up, trying, fighting, and giving your best even on days when you had little to give. That's not weakness. That's dedication. That's strength in its rawest form. But even the strongest individuals need moments to breathe. Even the most resilient minds require time to heal. You are not an exception. Think about how a phone works. No matter how expensive, advanced, or powerful it is, when the battery runs low, it doesn't mean the phone is broken. It simply needs recharging. The same goes for you. When your mind feels heavy or your spirit feels tired, it doesn't mean you're failing. It means you need to step back, regain your energy, and refuel your motivation. But what most people do instead is blame themselves for not being able to keep going at full speed. You talk to yourself harshly, telling yourself that you're not good enough, not strong enough, not disciplined enough. When the truth is, you've been operating at maximum capacity for too long without giving yourself the grace to rest. Rest is not laziness. Rest is not quitting. Rest is not weakness. Rest is maintenance. Rest is how you come back stronger. Rest is how you sharpen your mind and regain clarity. But somewhere along the way, society taught you that you must keep grinding until you break, that slowing down is a sign of failure. And that mindset has forced many people into burnout, not because they lacked ability, but because they lacked permission to pause. You deserve that permission. You deserve moments where you step away from the noise, silence the world, and listen to your soul. You deserve quiet seasons where your only responsibility is taking care of yourself. You deserve rest, not guilt. The reason rest feels uncomfortable for some people is because they've attached their worth to their productivity. If they're not achieving, they feel useless. I'm not talking about working, they feel lost. If they're not accomplishing something, they feel like they're falling behind. But your value is not measured by how much you produce. Your worth is not tied to your output. You are valuable simply because you exist, because you have a purpose, because you have a story to live and lessons to share. Resting doesn't take away from that. It enhances it. When you're tired, your thoughts become cloudy. Problems start looking bigger than they are. Doubts grow louder. Small challenges feel like mountains. Your mind starts playing tricks, convincing you that you're not capable, not smart, not deserving. But this isn't truth. It's fatigue talking. When your body and mind are overworked, everything feels heavier. But once you rest, everything changes. What once felt impossible suddenly feels manageable. What once stressed you out becomes simple. What once overwhelmed you becomes clear. That's the power of rest. It resets your perspective. You must also understand that strength isn't about pushing nonstop. Strength is about balance. It's knowing when to fight and when to breathe. It's knowing when to hold on and when to step back. Strength is in the wisdom of pacing yourself, not in the pressure of exhausting yourself. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop, not quit. Just stop long enough to gather yourself again. That pause might feel unproductive, but it's not. That pause is building you. That pause is restoring you. That pause is preparing you for the next chapter. You were never meant to function like a machine. You have emotions, energy limits, and mental capacity that must be respected. Ignoring them doesn't make you stronger. It makes you breakable. Listen to them doesn't make you weaker. It makes you wise. You owe it to yourself to treat your mind and heart with kindness. You owe it to yourself to rest without blaming yourself. You owe it to yourself to recognize that exhaustion is not a flaw. It is a signal. And every signal is meant to protect you, not punish you. Clarity comes from slowing down, relaxing, and allowing your mind to reset. When life gets loud, when responsibilities stack on top of each other, when people demand your time, attention, and energy, your mind becomes cluttered. You start thinking too fast, worrying too much, and overanalyzing everything. This mental noise makes it hard to make good decisions, hard to trust yourself, and hard to see the path ahead. Most of the stressed people feel doesn't come from the situation itself, but from the nonstop pressure they put on their minds. When you're constantly in motion, constantly responding, constantly fixing, constantly doing, your thoughts don't have space to breathe. And without space, there is no clarity. Clarity doesn't appear in chaos. It appears in stillness. It appears when you stop forcing answers and allow them to come naturally. It appears when you step away from the noise and let your mind relax long enough to reorganize itself. Just like muddy water clears when left untouched, your thoughts settle when you stop shaking them. But most people never give themselves that chance. They stay busy, stressed, overwhelmed, convinced that the more they hustle, the better things will get. But sometimes the most productive thing you can do is pause. Relaxing doesn't mean running away from problems. It means stepping back so you can return with a sharper mind. When you're tired, you can't see opportunities clearly. When you're stressed, you can't recognize solutions. When your mind is spinning, everything looks harder than it is. But when you slow down, something powerful happens. The fog lifts. Ideas start forming. Plans become clearer. You start understanding what matters and what doesn't. You begin to separate real problems from imagined ones, temporary setbacks from permanent truths. The truth is, your brain wasn't designed to operate in constant pressure. It needs moments of peace to function at its best. That's why some of your best ideas come when you're not trying, when you're walking, showering, resting, or sitting quietly. It's because the mind becomes more creative when it isn't being forced. Relaxation unlocks the parts of your mind that stress locks away. When you relax, you stop thinking from fear and start thinking from strength. You've probably experienced this before. You're overwhelmed, confused, unsure what to do. Then you take a break, breathe, calm down, and suddenly everything makes sense. The problem didn't change. You changed. Your perspective became clearer because your mind was no longer drowning in pressure. That's the power of slowing down. It's not about escaping life. It's about regaining control of it. Many people mistake constant activity for progress, but moving fast without direction is the same as going nowhere. When your mind is rushing, you react instead of responding. You jump instead of thinking. You panic instead of planning. And the decisions made from stress are rarely the right ones. Clarity gives you the ability to choose wisely, act calmly, and move confidently. But clarity cannot be rushed. It grows in quiet moments. Relaxing also reconnects you with yourself. When life gets hectic, you lose touch with your own voice. You start listening to everyone else, their opinions, their expectations, and you forget what you truly want. But when you slow down, you hear your intuition again. You remember your purpose. You reconnect with your inner strength. And suddenly, you're not just living life. You're directing it. You deserve moments of stillness. You deserve time where you aren't solving anything, proving anything, or performing for anyone. You deserve a mental break that allows you to feel like yourself again. When you give yourself permission to slow down, you're not being unproductive. You're giving your mind the chance to operate at its highest level. Every successful person has moments of confusion, frustration, and doubt. They succeed because they refocus. People look at strong individuals, at leaders, at high achievers, and they imagine that these people never struggled. They assume success came easily. That confidence was always there. That clarity was never an issue. But the truth is, even the most powerful, influential, and successful people you'd admire experienced days where they questioned everything. They felt lost. They felt tired. They felt unsure. They felt like giving up. But the difference between them and the people who stop halfway isn't strength without struggle. It's the ability to pause, breathe, and redirect their mind back to their purpose. Refocusing is what separates achievers from quitters. It's that internal decision to take their energy away from doubt and put it back into direction. It's the moment where they choose to stop listening to fear and start listening to faith. Even the most confident people lose focus sometimes. Even the most prepared people experience setbacks. Even the most determined people have days where they wake up with no motivation. But they learn something crucial. Lack of focus is temporary, but giving up is permanent. So they never let a moment of confusion turn into a lifetime of regret. People often think success is about pushing nonstop, about never feeling weak, about being unshakable every single day. But success is really about learning how to recover your focus faster than you lose it. It's about recognizing when your mind is drifting into worry, jealousy, fear, or frustration, and pulling it back before those emotions take control. It's about understanding that doubt doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It means you're on a challenging one. And challenging paths always grow strong people. When successful people lose focus, they don't panic. They don't assume something is wrong with them. They don't call themselves failures. Instead, they step back and evaluate. They ask themselves what distracted them, what drained them, what triggered their doubt. They get honest with their thoughts instead of running from them. And once they understand where the distraction came from, they regain control. This ability to refocus is more powerful than any talent, skill, or education. Refocusing also means letting the emotional weight that clouds your clarity. Sometimes you're not unfocused. You're carrying too much. You're stressed, hurt, disappointed, or overwhelmed, and those emotions block your ability to see your path. Successful people don't avoid these feelings. They face them. They acknowledge what they feel, release what they cannot control, and redirect their attention to what they can influence. They understand that their energy is limited, so they refuse to waste it on fear or negativity. Another important part of refocusing is remembering your why. When life feels heavy, when setbacks hit, when progress slows, your purpose can get blurry. You start asking yourself, is this worth it? Am I capable? Is this working? But when successful people feel this way, they return to their reason, why they started, what they dream of, who they want to become. Their why becomes the anchor that pulls them back into alignment. Without a clear reason, it's easy to lose direction. But when your reason is strong, your focus becomes unbreakable. Refocusing is also about redirecting your attention from problems to possibilities. Anyone can point out obstacles. Anyone can complain about what isn't working. But successful people shift their thinking. They look for solutions. They search for opportunities inside the difficulty. They train their minds to see progress where others see pressure. This mental shift doesn't remove challenges, but it makes them manageable. Every person who reaches success does so because they refuse to stay distracted, They refuse to let negativity control their story. They refuse to let temporary confusion stop them from long-term growth. They may fall off track, but they always get back on. They may lose their way for a moment, but they never stay lost. They understand that refocusing isn't a one-time act. It's a lifelong discipline. Your strength is proven by everything you've already survived. People often underestimate themselves because they focus only on what they haven't achieved yet, what they still struggle with, or the challenges they are currently facing. But if they pause for a moment, they look back at their journey, they would realize they are much stronger than they give themselves credit for. You have overcome things that once felt impossible. You have carried pain that others never saw. You have walked through storms that could have broken you, yet here you are, still standing, still fighting, still growing. That alone is proof of strength. Strength doesn't always look loud or heroic. Sometimes strength is quiet. Sometimes it's found in the moments when you got out of bed, even though your heart was heavy. Sometimes it's the way you smiled when you were hurting inside. Sometimes the courage you showed by continuing to hope when you had every reason to give up. Strength shows up in different forms, and most of the time, you don't even realize you're demonstrating it. Survival itself is strength. Persistence is strength. Endurance is strength. And you've shown all of that. You've survived heartbreaks that felt like they would crush you. You've survived disappointment that shook your confidence. You've survived betrayal that changed the way you trust. You've survived days when you didn't think you would make it through. But somehow you did. You've kept going through dark seasons, long nights, and battles no one knew you were fighting. That isn't weakness. The kind is resilience that is built through real-life experience, not pretend strength. Every time life tried to push you down, you pushed back. You learn how to adapt. You learn how to stay calm. You learn how to rebuild when things fell apart. Even when you didn't have the answers, you kept searching. Even when you didn't have the support you needed, you became your own support. Even when others doubted you, you continued to move forward. This is what people forget. Strength isn't about having everything together. Strength is about refusing to let challenges define you. You also have the kind of strength that grows quietly over time. Think of all the times you heal from things you never thought you would heal from. Healing requires patience, courage, and emotional discipline. And you did it. Think of the times when you started over, even though starting over scared you. Think of the times when you made choices that were right for you, even when they were difficult. That is strength built from experience, wisdom, and self-respect. Another reason people underestimate their strength is because they compare themselves to others. They look at someone who appears more confident or more successful and assume that person is stronger. But you never know what someone else is carrying, and you never see the storms they've weathered. Your journey cannot be measured by someone else's path. Your strength is unique to you, shaped by your battles, your lessons, and your victories. Your strength is also reflected in your ability to learn. Every mistake you've made taught you something. Every setback you faced built your character. Every challenge increased your endurance. You are not the same person you were years ago. You are wiser, tougher, more aware. Growth is not easy. Choosing to grow instead of staying broken is one of the strongest decisions a person can make. And don't forget the strength it takes to believe in a better future. Hope is not weak. Hope is powerful. It means you trust that life still has more for you, even if today is difficult. It means you believe in possibilities even when circumstances tell you otherwise. It means you're willing to keep walking even when the road is uncertain. Hope requires courage, and courage is strength. Pressure, stress, and chaos block vision. Calmness restores purpose and direction. When life becomes overwhelming, And the first thing that disappears is clarity. You can't think straight, you can't make decisions confidently, and you can't see the possibilities in front of you because your mind is drowning in noise. Stress has a way of pulling your attention toward fear, worst case scenarios, and negative thoughts. It doesn't matter how capable, intelligent, or talented you are, when your mind is overloaded, everything becomes harder. Even small problems look huge, simple tasks feel impossible, and ordinary situations turn into emotional storms. Chaos plays tricks on your perception. It blinds you. When you're under pressure, your brain switches into survival mode. Instead of planning, you react. Instead of seeing long-term opportunities, you focus only on immediate threats. Instead of being intentional, you become emotional. And when emotion takes over decision-making, the choices you make often lead to more stress, not solutions. It's not because you're weak or unprepared, but because no one thinks clearly in chaos. Your mind is designed to protect you, not to guide you during moments of overwhelming pressure. This is why calmness is not just peaceful, it's powerful. Calmness is not a lack of problems. It's the ability to pause long enough to see them accurately. When your emotions settle, your vision sharpens. When your mind quiets down, your purpose comes back into focus. Calmness creates space for logic, intuition, creativity, and confidence to return. It's the reset button your brain needs to function at its highest level. Think about what happens when you're trying to look through a dirty or foggy window. No matter how beautiful the outside view is, you can't see it clearly until the glass is clean. The same applies to your mind. Stress fogs your mental window. Pressure covers everything in emotional dust. Chaos smudges your perspective. But calmness wipes the window clean. Suddenly you can see your situation with clarity, not through the lens of fear, but through the lens of truth. You realize the problem isn't as big as it felt. You notice opportunities you ignored before. You remember options you forgot you had. That is the magic of calmness. People often think they need to work harder when stressed, but in reality, they need to breathe. They need to step back. They need to separate their thoughts from their emotions. Calmness allows you to approach challenges with strategy instead of panic. It allows you to respond instead of react. It helps you choose wisely instead of impulsively. Calmness turns chaos into clarity. Most breakthroughs happen after calm moments, not chaotic ones. The best decisions you ever made probably came after thinking clearly, not after rushing. The greatest ideas often show up when your mind is still, not when it's overloaded. Calmness improves judgment, strengthens patience, boosts creativity, and restores emotional balance. Without calmness, even the right opportunity can be missed because you're too overwhelmed to recognize it. Calmness also brings you back to your purpose. When you're stressed, you focus on what's urgent. When you're calm, you remember what's important. Stress pushes you into survival mode. Calmness pulls you back into purpose mode. You start remembering why you started, what your goals are, and who you are becoming. You stop letting temporary emotions control your permanent direction. You stop letting fear speak louder than your vision. Calmness gives your purpose room to breathe again. It's important to understand that calmness isn't something you wait for. It's something you create. It's a decision, a practice, a discipline. You choose to breathe before reacting. You choose to pause before responding. You choose to let your thoughts settle before making decisions. You choose to protect your peace because you know your peace protects your clarity. You are not weak. You are preparing for your next level through rest, reflection, and renewed focus. Too often, people misunderstand periods of pause and reflection as signs of weakness. They look at themselves during moments of stillness and think they are falling behind, that they are not progressing, or that they are failing. But the truth is, these moments are essential for growth. Just as a seed spends time underground before it sprouts, And just as a caterpillar